Hello, my name is Scott Windows Monkey, and I'm here with Nick General. So, in the lead up to OCS, which is starting on Friday, we've decided to do a top 10 players list of players which you can expect to see in the OPL in the future. So, the format of the segment is we're going to start off in the top lane and just go through the players in that role which we think could be playing in the OPL in future and work our way down the roles through to support. Just something to note that if a player has played in the OPL as a starter for an extended period of time, then they will be ineligible for this list. The best example of this is probably Frey, who's most likely going to be the best player in the OCS this split, but has already played OPL for a number of splits, so will be ineligible for this list. So we'll start off in the top lane. Nick, who's our first pick for the list?
Alright, so our first player on this list is Papryze, which is a player I have a fair amount of experience with, coming in from Abyss Open Ladder, and obviously coming in on Abyss OCS. So, similar to his counterpart in the top lane for Abyss Esports, he is quite analogous to Pabu. He's known for his bruiser play, Camille, Fiora, Renekton, those sort of champions in solo queue. I guess similar to Pabu as well, in competitive, he does play a fair amount of tanks. So you can play, like, for instance, the Galio, the Gragas, even the Maokai a fair bit in Open Ladder. So he has quite a lot of diversity in his play. Like, he can also play the carries and the tanks, unlike a few top laners in the OCS. And for that reason, in combined with, strong laning phase, very strong team fighting as well, I think he is a player to watch because of his diversity and just his general skill level as a top laner.
Well, speaking of a strong laning phase, moving on to our second top laner, we have the Noxide top laner from last split, Artaphernes. So I actually coached Noxide for the first half of last split. This guy is a mechanically skilled player, plays things like the Fiora, the Jace, looks to play champions that can do real well in the laning phase and in the split push later on. He's one of the only players to beat Regicide. So he beat Regicide playing as Camille in the semifinals of playoffs for OCS last split. He's on Legacy Genesis now, so hopefully with some of that coaching from Soul Strikes, he'll be able to make that transition from the OCS to the OPL.
Speaking of Regicide, our next player on the list is Seek. So he played on Regicide this split and also X5 before, and if not for his competitive ruling, he would have qualified for OPL twice, undoubtedly. On X5, he played a fair amount of carries, most notably the Aurelia Pentakill against Legacy Genesis. However, in Regicide, he did diversify his play and played a lot of tanks, a lot of Nautilus, and a lot of Maokai. Individually, Seek is probably the strongest player on this list. However, the weaknesses of Seek come from his poor English, and at times his over-aggressive playstyle, but obviously with more coaching and experience in competitive scene, that can be improved on. Unfortunately, Seek will not be playing in the OCS or the or Open Ladder this split, as he is competitively ruled alongside a few players on this list. So hopefully Seek continues to play competitive, and if he does, we do expect to see him in the OPL.
Alright, so we'll move on to the junglers next. So the first jungler that we have on the list is one that I've been quite outspoken about in how well I think he's going to perform in the OCS this split. So that jungler is Praelus. So Praelus played on X5 as a sub, as well as Avant-Garde Academy in the Open Ladder. He's going to be playing on Sin Academy this split. He's a very strong mechanical jungler, known for the Lee Sin. And yeah, we can expect this guy to really be showing up, potentially the best jungler in the OCS this split. Although Nick may dispute that with the next one coming out.
So the next player on this list is another Abyss boy, Swathe. So Swathe played on Fortnite in his debut split, known as a Master Yi one trick. Then last split he played on Sin Academy. Unfortunately, he did get competitively ruled, so he didn't finish the split with Sin Academy. However, he's returned to the OCS on the team that I'm working with, Abyss Academy. He reached very high ranking in the solo queue ladder, top 5 in the off season. He plays a lot of League of Legends, and talking to him, he's a very smart player, which is obviously needed for a jungler. And he is very vocal, which obviously is very important for a jungler. I guess similar to Papryze is that he's quite diverse. He can play aggressive champions like Leesa, Karzik, and the defensive champions like Gragas and Zac. Overall, just a very loud player, which is very important for the jungle, and hopefully should see him in the OPL soon.
All right. So the final jungler that we have on the list is Leesa. So Leesa played on Regicide and was pretty inarguably the best jungler during that split. He dominated on champions like the Graves, Kha'Zix, Leesa, and he even played a game of Nocturne, which went really well for him. He's a guy which is when he does play, he's very high up on the challenger leaderboard. He's also, very young. Like when I met Leesa, probably like 14, 15 years old. So he's coming of age now, and he's really going to be a powerhouse in that jungle. If he does decide to play OPL after his competitive ruling ends. So, all right, we'll move on to the mid lane. And Nick, we only have one mid laner on this list.
Yeah, so mid lane is like a really stacked role in OCE. And in my opinion, you sort of have to compete with Freight in order to be considered like an OPL tier mid laner in the OCS. So this is why we've only got one mid laner, and that one mid laner is Haeri. Haeri has a very wide champion pool, but he's specifically extremely good on the Cassiopeia and Victor in his solo queue. Like he's one of his higher win rate champions. He is referred to as a scrim god. So although Legacy Genesis finished in relegations last split, he was performing extremely well in scrims, and so because of this, hopefully with a little bit more experience in competitive play, and as well as perhaps a little less nerves, he should be able to show through with his true mechanical prowess. And he is playing on Legacy Genesis again, and alongside Soul Strikes. Hopefully he can add some more macro oriented game to his already strong micro play. Next up will be our ADCs, and quite interestingly, neither of these ADCs will be playing in the OCS this split. So let's Scott, the first ADC on the list.
All right, so the first ADC we've got on the list is Kedu. So another Regicide player. I feel like we've already mentioned Regicide a lot, and he's not going to be the last one. So he played on Regicide, and he was on a team which only lost a single game to Noxide in the semifinals of the OCS. He played mostly utility in the split, things like the Ashbin solo queue. He was playing mobile ADCs, so perhaps just playing those as a result of the meta in OCS. He reached rank 1 in the off season and is almost always very high up on the solo queue ladder when he does play. Looks like he's going to be playing OOL or Oceanic Open Ladder again this split, but I think it's very likely that Regicide is just keeping him to picking up when he becomes of age to round out their OPL team.
So speaking of players that are coming into age, our next player is BigDogTim. BigDogTim is a very interesting player because he's only 15, which means he's not actually age restricted. He's not actually eligible for the OCS. So he played in Avant-Garde Academy in the OCS and showed that he was quite a strong ADC. However, the main reason why we've got him on this list is how highly regarded he is with other OPL ADCs. Quite a few OPL ADCs consider him the best non-OPL ADC. So hopefully, BigDogTim with some time can hopefully some time in the OOL and just some more experience under his belt, he will get better as a player, and hopefully he will play in the OPL.
All right. Well, moving on to the final role, which is support. So if you guys have been counting, we only actually have one more person on this list. So the support, surprise, surprise, another Regicide player. So he played for Regicide until a ban just before the promotion tournament. He would regularly be high solo queue ranking when he was playing. He played a lot of passive supports, which meant he was very popular with some of the ADCs. In the OCS, I remember my team wanted him. I know that Squidgy was a player who wanted to play with him. Pretty much everybody wanted to play with this guy coming in. Unfortunately, Eyla did receive a competitive ruling, which means that he will not be playing this split. But can definitely expect to see this guy, like the rest, in the OPL in the future. So thank you for watching our list. If I can just say one thing though, there are a lot of players on this list which are banned. So hopefully this, once those players come unbanned, we'll be seeing these players come back to competitive, and hopefully we won't be seeing those bans happening in the future. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.